Good morning, everyone. Welcome to MJ's Shady Anchors. My name is Mary Jo Snyder. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I am so happy that you're joining me this morning. I'm just going to share this over to my business page. There's going to be a time where I'm actually going to start there and share it over here. When you want to boost a post to get broader audience, it's better to start on your business page, but I like to start here because you guys are able to interact more here than you are on my page. So it's kind of a catch-22, which is unfortunate, but I'm here with you today in my group, MJ Shady Anchors, and I'm so happy that you're here. And we are going to work on some projects with this Gnome for the Holidays stamp set. The stamp set is adorable, a lot of cute lined images for coloring with your blends, or you can just stamp the image on colored paper, your cardstock, or even on your other things that you can do with this, which I just stuck straight to stamping these on Whisper White and using my blends today, but you can use your Stampin' Write markers and other coloring techniques that you choose to use when you are using this stamp set. So welcome this morning, and thank you so much for being here. This is the host code for this week. You would want to use this host code to get the make and takes from today. You will get, I think I'm lacking paper on a couple of them, but the paper may be different that you get, but you would be able to make the same projects if you have this stamp set, or you could actually purchase this stamp set, spend $35 in my online store from today through Friday the 13th. Ooh, I don't like that. And you would receive the make and takes from today. And there are 4 make and takes. So I cannot send stamped images, so you would need the stamp set or another stamp set that you can use of your choice. So we're going to get started. There's a lot to show and a lot of coloring. So good morning, Gail. Hi, Nora. Hi, Sheila. Hi, Shayla. I'm not sure who else is here, but thank you so much for being here and welcome. I don't know if you saw my post. I was making gingerbread yesterday. Thank you, Kelly Whiteman. The maple gingerbread Tastefully Simple product is delicious. I just want to tell you, I made it yesterday so that I felt like I was doing a little bit for my family because I was glued to my computer for, I don't know, one night and 2 full days with Stampin' Up! On stage on at home. It was a lot of fun. It was a great time. I learned a lot. I can't wait to share techniques and tips and tricks with a bunch of new product that will become available come January. But we're going to focus on stuff that we can get your hands on now and focus on that stuff when it gets later on in the year. So I look forward to sharing all this wonderful stuff with you. But this is that beautiful, cute, I should say, adorable Jolly Gingerbread Paper Pumpkin Kit that you want to subscribe to by November 10th in order to get yours. I do want to tell you it is gift card holders, and you know me, I'm going to make some alternate projects using this amazing kit. So I had to do a cute little cute little photo to add to my group here and share with others to get you enticed in this gingerbread paper pumpkin kit. So all right, I don't know if y'all have seen this felt, and I've cut some stuff out of the felt. This is all I have left of the white. Kind of messed up a little bit on my white piece. There is Real Red, Whisper White, Just Jade, and Early Espresso. Awesome. You can find this felt on page 29 of your August to September mini catalog. It's right up here. All these little pieces that you kind of miss when you're going through the catalog because you're so excited by looking at it, you kind of miss some of the details of the other type of product that you can get in the catalog. So we're going to use some of this today, both in Whisper White and the Real Red. So I'm going to keep those handy, put the other 2 aside. And another thing I want to share with you, next week I am going to double up and use these 2 stamp sets for my Sunday Live with MJ. This spoke to me, and I'll share a story with you next weekend about this Joyful Holly stamp set. And of course, Christmas means more with all those sentiments from classic Christmas movies. So we're going to use both of those in next week's presentation. And I'm super excited because there will be some 3D projects in that presentation. So you look forward to that. And all right, so set my catalog aside. So this again is in the August to September holiday catalog. Sorry, mini catalog. So you can find that there. I'm going to grab some of my stamps that I'm going to need. And actually, I think I already pre-stamped some of this stuff. I know I need this stamp because I like to have my Memento ink dry really well before, you know, doing all that coloring. So I will get these out and we'll just do some stamping anyway on a piece of paper. Let's see. I think I used these. Every time I see this, I think of the Keebler elves. That's what it reminds me of. So, hi Bonnie, hi Karen, Cheryl, Joette. Thank you so much for being here. All right, so we got our stamps. I have a lot of product I'm using with this, this stamp set. So let's go ahead and grab our first project. I do want to share that I'm using, and I've kind of loved it, chopped it, the Brightly Gleaming Specialty Designer Series paper, as well as the Heartwarming Hugs Designer Series paper. So I'm incorporating those two papers as well as my cardstock and Whisper White cardstock as well. So I'm going to need my Memento ink, and for the first project, I'm going to need Night of Navy. We'll set these two pieces of felt aside until we need them. I cannot forget to announce Prize Patrol because the person that won Prize Patrol from last week, which I will share at the end of this broadcast. Hi, Jennifer. And the guest, this person will win the November Tag Buffet card class that I'm having on this coming Sunday the 15th. Yes, it's Sunday the 15th. And that class is at 1 p.m. It's an online class, but I'll announce the winner of this. Hi, Holly. And this is the prize. There's 10 card kits in here. And, of course, this was the gift to my class attendees. It's a sheet of dimensionals. So I'll announce that winner at the end of this broadcast. I have all kinds of blends that I'm incorporating in this class today. So I will announce the colors as we get to them. Okay, this is the first project, and every time I look at this little guy, he reminds me of a sorcerer. I can't say it. You know, a little sorcerer. Is that how you say it? I'm bad with pronouncing things sometimes. Hi, Melissa. So this is the card. Whoops, I need that for the project. This is the card that I created, and I absolutely love using the embossing folders on the vellum. So we're just going to do some coloring and add some little embellishing, and you pretty much have an awesome card to send to someone. Non-traditional Christmas colors, but I absolutely loved the look of the blue on this little guy. And of course, we're going to wink up the beard and all that stuff as well. So let's get started. We already stamped our image on this piece of Whisper White, and I dropped my snowflake, so I got to grab that. I have done some pre-cutting and kind of did some stuff in advance, but I'll talk you through it. I know I have some new people here that might be watching for the first time, so I don't want to get too far in advanced stamping if you're not familiar with what we got going on here. So the first thing I want to do, this is just a piece of scrap Whisper White. I'm going to color him with my blends. I also am going to be using the Winter Snow embossing folder for that piece of vellum. And I believe the So Many Snowflakes was the die that I used to cut out my big felt snowflake. I've already done that. I've also cut out a piece from Night of Navy, this awesome snowflake that is part of those dies as well. Let me just share those with you real quick. These are the dies that I'm talking about, and just kind of toss those in your die cutting machine, and you just can run it with felt and the glimmer paper and all that amazing stuff. So that's what I used for this specific card. And let's see, so I won't really need those because I've already done some cutting, and I also need my stitched nested die, which I believe I used this one right here, which if you count, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 from the largest. Fourth from the largest. Yep, that's the one I used. So I'll need that. And I need a drink of water because my voice is a little raspy. Oh yes, Cheryl, embossing vellum is so amazing. It's just amazing. Gives you that added texture and it softens that background and adds just a little bit more of a pop, a wow factor to your card front. I mean, these layers are pretty basic, but when you add those elements, it adds a whole lot to the front of your card. Okay, so we have the elements that we need for our die cutting. And let me just give you measurements. The vellum is measured at 3.5 by 4 3/4. You have designer series paper, and I'm actually going to use the reverse side of that pretty star piece, and this is from that Brightly Gleaming. And this measures at 4 by 5 1/4. You have a scrap for your sentiment, which is a 1/2 inch. Width is definitely what you want because that'll be perfect for the punch that we're going to use. And of course, thick whisper white that is cut at 8.5 by 5.5 and scored at 4 1/4. So that you're going to grab your bone folder, which I know I grabbed. I've already buried everything on my table. It doesn't take long. And you're just going to varnish that edge to get a crisp fold, okay? So you can set that aside and we'll do all that assembling after we're done coloring and cutting. All right, so with this card, I am using my Night of Navy Blends, light and dark, and my soft suede for his boots, and that is the dark. And I like to go with Petal Pink, since it's the middle of winter, fair skin probably, for this little guy anyway. That's what I'm using, the light Petal Pink for his skin tone. So I also colored the bell on his hat with light So Saffron. So we can go ahead and get started with that coloring. Your blends are awesome. And when you have fine areas, and I'm sorry that I'm so far away, I'm going to see if I can zoom in without jostling the camera too much. So hold on. See if we can do this. I don't know if I'll be able to get you back where we were, but we'll see. Okay. All right. So now we're going to color the skin tone. So his nose with the Petal Pink, his hands, and these are really tiny spaces. So just be sure, always have your color lifter if you go outside the lines. I like to dot in those areas that are really fine areas. So you can just take the tip of this tip and just dot in those areas that are really fine, like the hands and underneath the hat. Okay, so we have those two colors all set. We're going to come in first with our light Night of Navy and with the brush tip and hopefully gently color. When you get up towards the top, you're too hesitant in that tip, then you can either attempt with the brush tip or switch to the other side of your marker and use that finer tip for that really thin spot up there. Now, I'm going to add, because probably closer to here, down here towards this, there's probably some light coming from up here. So I want to make sure there's a little bit of shading up towards here. I'm going to come in with my darker just in that corner, like so. And then I'm going to blend that out because I don't want to cover up the details of the snowflakes on his hat. So I'm just going to blend that out so it shows a little bit of shading towards the brim of the hat. Okay, so you have that. And now I want to come in with my dark soft suede and just color his shoes. So I'm going to use that kind of it's not a chisel tip, but it's just a finer tip to your marker. Come in here and color his little boots. Aren't they cute? Then, because it's a beard and it's probably snowy white, that's what I'm going with. I just want to come in with some Wink Stella. Everybody loves Wink Stella, right? So when you color using, so this is the ink that I stamped, the Memento Black ink is what I stamped the outline of the image in my Tuxedo Memento Black ink, which is water-based. Whereas the alcohol markers, these are alcohol markers. So when you're using your blends, you want to use Memento black ink so that they're not bleeding the Memento ink into the image. This may create, because this is also water-based, I believe, it will create kind of a watercolor effect. So it might create some gray tones when I blend this in, not necessarily blend, but when I add the Wink of Stella to his beard. It just might make that Memento bleed a little bit, which is okay. He can have a gray beard, right? It may not. And I think I actually have to go in here and color some more Night of Navy with his outfit and the sleeves of his shirt. So, not sure if you can see that okay, but it adds just a smidge of sparkle. I'm really zoomed in, sorry about that. I'm not sure you can see it okay. But there's some glimmer there from the Wink of Stella. So let's grab the light Night of Navy and come in and color his little outfit, because there is a little bit of his clothes peeking out. And again, if you go outside the lines, you can certainly come in with your color lifter. And I'll give you a little insight as to what that color lifter does. I'll just up here in the corner, color a little smidge for those people that are new to Stampin' Blends. And then I'm going to come in and with my color lifter, you're going to see I can lift that color right off of there. If you keep using it, you can. So when you go outside the lines, you can lift that color off there. It just kind of, and it helps you blend out some of these tones as well if you want to use it that way. So there's that little guy. He is all done. Let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment. And we're going to stamp this in Night of Navy, and we're going to stamp the whole sentiment. It says a little Christmas wish, and I'm going to zoom back out because I know I'm like super in your face kind of stuff going on. So let's see if we can work this on my phone. There we go. Sweet. Okay. So we did the stamping that we need. We're all set there. We're going to set that aside. We're going to need to emboss and die cut these out. And I want to make sure I clean this stamp off because I'm going to use it in another project. So let me grab my cleaning pad, which needs to be cleaned itself. And I want to make sure that I have all that ink off there because we're going to do some other techniques with that stamp later on. Okay. Now I'm going to come in here with my stamp cut and emboss machine, and during celebration, I got celebration on the brain. During our on stage presentation, somebody called this the boss, the big boss. And eventually we're going to have the little boss, but I might start referring to this as the big boss because it's easier to say than the stamp cut and emboss machine. Do you need a separate color lifter for each color? Nope, because the tip of that does not pull the color onto it. So I'm going to show you. It does, but if you, it doesn't carry on to other projects. I'm not sure why that is, but no, you only need one color lifter. But it's good to have several because if your color lifter runs out or the tip gets kind of ick, then you can certainly have a replacement for that. So we're going to come in here. Yes, I highly recommend color lifters if you don't have them and you color with blends. Definitely a must. Probably a really smart thing for me to do would be to use my magnetic platform, but I'm just going to try and carefully place this top layer on here, this top flat platform, and just run that through with my die. Again, this is the 4th from the largest stitch nested die. And sorry if I'm shaking the table. And then you have that cute little die cut image for your card. And now we got to do a little switching around. And I'm going to need the embossing folder, the snowflake embossing folder. Now this is not a 3D embossing folder. So what you need is to use base plate number 1, which you can see the number right there, and 2 of your platforms, these little clear plates. So this one is all chewed up because it gets a lot of use with the die cuts. And so I need my vellum. which I just had in my hand. No joke. There it is. Stuck to a piece of paper. Whoops, sorry. And then you're going to just lay that inside your embossing folder. There are nice lines on some of them if the pattern is not scattered. It doesn't matter if that vellum goes in there straight in this one. It's really not a big deal. Then put your top plate on top and run that through your embossing machine. And you have this beautiful embossed piece of vellum. Yes, Bonnie, it definitely is much easier to say boss. That's funny. Aww. Okay, so we've got that all set. Done with that. Now we can assemble this awesome card. All right, I did use the, excuse me, the denim ribbon, so I need to go cut a piece of that real quick. Probably about 6 inches, 6.5 inches, because you're going to wrap around this top layer. I probably overcompensated, but that's okay. All right, so grab my card base and my Stampin' Seal. It would look cute with this too, if these were snowflakes. You can use the snowflake paper as well. That awesome snowflake Splendor Suite. It's just amazing. Take my time with the adhesive. Plays nice if you take your time. Okay. Oh, almost made a mistake. You got to wrap this around. Oh, you know what else? I probably should have adhered my vellum. Okay, so hold tight. I don't want to adhere all that together. So I have my vellum piece. We know that we are going to adhere something to the top right in the center. Adhesive shows on vellum from underneath. So since you know that, just put adhesive where that little guy is going to go. That just gets centered in the middle. You can see right there how that shows through. Now I got to lift this up since it's stuck to my paper. All right, so we are going to wrap that around because we should have done that first. And yes, I tore my paper, which means it's stuck to my card front. But no worries, because we're just gonna lay that back on there. Nobody can see it. It's because I got too excited and moved too fast and should have set this on my silicone mat, but it's okay. All right, we can cover up that mess I created on there. Then you're just gonna layer that on there like so on your card front. And like I said, you can see that, but where you have embossed, you actually could put some glue dots, which is exactly what I did, because I know I'm going to cover up that section as well with that snowflake. So I'm going to grab my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm just going to lay, if I can grab it, I'm just going to lay a glue dot there. And yes, you can see that, but that's where that snowflake is going to go, okay? Another key point when you're using vellum to emboss on, let me just show you something. Like this piece right here, you're not going to see that. That glue dot doesn't show underneath the embossed section. So you can add a few glue dots if you don't want that too loose on there to keep that adhered down, okay? Just some tips with the adhesive use with vellum. Okay. So now come in with our little guy, and we're going to use dimensionals on him, and grab my dimensional sheet, and I'm going to put a couple towards the top, leave a space where that ribbon's going to be because I don't want to create added bulk for myself, trying to put, because this is kind of another layer. Even though that ribbon is a little thinner, it's thinner than your cardstock, but I don't want to create added bulk for myself. And again, I'm covering up where that adhesive is, so you can't even see that, okay? Now, the snowflakes are right here. Now, I thought initially when I was making one of my projects that, oh, wouldn't it be awesome to use Tombow glue? No, don't use Tombow glue with your felt. I'm guaranteeing you will be as frustrated as I was yesterday, and I'll explain it when I'm through. Well, actually, I'll explain it now. Your Tombow is going to soak right through this felt, and then this gets wet. You don't want to do that. So you can either use glue dots, which is what I'm going to use, or you can even use your Stampin' Seal. Glue dots. Glue dots were right in my hand. Okay, they're right here. So I'm going to grab a couple glue dots on this piece here. And if they don't stick, here's what I'm going to tell you. Come in here with take your pick tool and just place those glue dots right down where you want to stick that. Tuck one snowflake piece in there or around there, and maybe you don't even want to do that. So you could have even put it on a dimensional. I stuck this down before putting my snowflake on, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut one of these snowflake pieces off, because no one's going to care that that's not there, because nobody's going to see it. Right? Look at that. Perfect. Problem solved. Got ahead of myself, but we're good. All right, this is the other snowflake that I'm going to place on a glue dot if they want to stick. My room gets cold and my glue dots don't work, so I apologize. That's my own issue. Okay, then we have that, and then we need our sentiment, and we are going to use one of my favorite punches, the classic label punch. And this is a little tricky, so be patient with yourself. You only want those Christmas wish words. So just punch that out and gently tuck this piece, actually come in from this end, hold it over here, but make sure you have it lined up, because you're going to frustrate yourself if you cut that piece where you don't want it cut, because then you're honestly going to have to re-stamp everything like that. So we're going to re-stamp everything. See? I'm so glad I could teach you my mistake. Oh, goodness. All right, let's try that again. Gracious. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen when you're live. Hi, Betty. Thank you, everyone, for being here. You caught me in the middle of my oops. So let's go ahead and stamp those words again on our little piece of scrap. And how about let's just do what I have in mind here. All right. Just be patient with yourself and don't rush. There is a little trick to it, and unfortunately, maybe I need to do to come in like this, if I can get my hands wrapped around it, and tuck that in there and just hold it so that I know it's going to cut better, so that I have that piece. It's probably easier doing it that way. So there, we learned something new together. All right, so I'll put this aside. I'm all set with my Night of Navy ink. I'm going to come in and I'm going to, because I want this to be the same level as this piece here, I want to put adhesive here, seal, and then a dimensional on the back of this. So where the word wish is, add a mini dimensional to that piece on that end. And grab your seal and add that on there, like so. Okay, now we need to finish it off with those beautiful blue adhesive backed gems. And I'm going to use one of the big ones. I'm going to come in with the darker color and just put that in the center of my snowflake. And there you go. There is card number 1. Too cute. Love it. Hi, Ellen. All right, so there's the first card. We're all set with these embellishments. Get myself organized again so I know what I got going on. I'm all set with the snowflake dies, so I can put those aside, and that embossing folder. Now the next card we are going to create uses a piece of old olive cardstock, cut at 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. We have a mini size of the nested dies, which is this one here. So it is 1 2/3 from the smallest die that I've cut out with Whisper White. We have, and this is what we're making. We have our little guy all stamped with Memento ink on a piece of Whisper White scrap. we have a piece of, now this is that, again, that Brightly Gleaming Designer Series paper, the old olive piece, that is 2.5 by 3 3/4. We have this piece, and I know this is a large piece for this section here, but it's okay. Initially I had a reason for that. It is so you can line everything up where it needs to go. So there is a method to my madness, but if you don't want to waste a full piece like this, then by all means you can cut yours down. But I wanted to do it this way because it was easier for me. So that is 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. And then of course our vellum piece, which I am going to cut this down because I do not need a whole piece. I just need like half of it. So we're going to measure that out, and I'm going to tell you what size, but I'm going to emboss the whole thing first, and then we're going to cut it down to size. Okay? So, and of course those awesome, wonderful gems, which are part of, I want to say this product suite, but I could be wrong. Not this product suite. This is the Heartwarming Hugs Designer Series paper, that striped paper there. All right. So, I don't want to lose this die because I need it for all of my projects. We are going to, right off the bat, we are going to use the Evergreen Forest 3D embossing folder for our vellum. So we got that set aside here. And we're going to do our coloring. So let's do that. And we'll set all these other pieces aside until we're ready to assemble and stamp. Okay? All right. So this little guy gets colored in Old Olive and Real Red. So I want to grab my Real Red blends. That's Cherry Cobbler. So we have light Real Red, dark Real Red, both of my Old Olives, dark and light. Just make sure I got the right ones. And we need, I think that's it. And our peachy color, it's actually Petal Pink Light, and our Wink of Stella. All right, so we can go ahead and get started. Again, if you need me to zoom in, I can do that so that you can see what I got going on. Let me just go ahead and do that real quick. If I'm not messing up things. And I don't want to be off screen, so we'll pull this in closer. All right, so the first thing I want to do, I'll come in with my Petal Pink and I will dot his hands to give his hands some color. I'll color his nose and his other hand, and that looks, and I colored underneath his hat where his eye is, and we're all set there. Then I want to use my light Old Olive for, I need new Old Olive, see the tip of that? Oh, it's toast. Okay, I'm going to dot in this holly or mistletoe, whatever it is. I think it's mistletoe. This will be great paired with the Memory and More cards, because there's a mini card. There's cards that have mistletoe on them. It's really pretty. Okay, and I want to come in with my little dark Real Red. We're going to color the bow. Again, you can dot those small areas so that you're not going outside the lines. It's easier to dot like so. So that's done. And I'm going to keep going with my Real Red dark and color his clothing. So I use the dark, and I'm going to use the brush tip for part of it because it's kind of a larger area. I'm sorry I'm not looking at comments with all this coloring. I'd have color all the way to my elbows. And thanks, Bonnie. Oh, thanks, Betty, for sharing. Watching from Oregon. Thank you for being here. So exciting. Thanks for sharing. I always do, for some of you that are new, I always have a Prize Patrol drawing each week. So I will let you know what, I'm going to use the other tip for that little tiny sleeve right there. I'll let you know what the prize is for next week when I'm through. All right, so now I'm going to come in with the light. I'm just going to keep the tones just straight. I'm not going to do a whole lot of shading, just because, one, to save on time, but there's just like really fine spots. Actually, I don't want to use my light, do I? I think I used the brush tip. There we go. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. I'm just gonna, yeah, some of these small spots don't allow for a whole lot of shading, so I'm just gonna go straight up color. I am still learning when it comes to coloring with blends. There's so many people that are so amazingly artistic when they're coloring. They just see, like, they see where the shading should be, and I sometimes lack that. Like, if I have, like, if the light, like on the last card, like if the light's coming down a certain way, what you're thinking, like maybe they're tiptoeing through the house and there's, like, you know, not much light, but there's lights coming in from, like, the skylight from the moon outside or whatever, then it would be coming in from here, so you could kind of shade these lower sections, if that makes sense. All right, this is my dark real red, and I want to color the base of this ornament with that. I thought I messed up, I had to stop. And then I'm going to come in with my dark old olive and color the top of that ornament. And I also am going to color his hat spaces with the dark. And if it's easier for you to, like I said, you use the tip that you're comfortable with in the sections that you're coloring. The most important thing is to take your time. It's, you know, a lot of people like that, like those adult coloring books, kind of gives you the same comfort and relaxation coloring with your blends. Or watercolor pencils, you know, you can use those on this too. Watercolor pencils would be pretty cool. Oh, I need to color his socks. So we're going to dot the socks where the old olive goes, just because they're so small sections. So there's that. So we have him all set. We're going to come in again with that Wink of Stella. And I'm going to squeeze. If you need Wink of Stella in the tip of your brush, I don't want to get it all over my project. All you have to do is squeeze your brush. There's two little push marks on your brush. You'll squeeze it and you'll see it fill in. Oops, off the camera. You'll squeeze these push sections and it'll fill in this well, but don't push too hard because it will leak all over. I have a tendency of wasting a lot of Wink of Stella doing that. So be gentle with your Wink because you don't want to waste it. And I didn't really need to fill the tip because I already had some there. Sometimes a little goes a long way. Oh, and I want to do this section. Give it a little bling as well. I just wish you could see it better in this. I don't know if you can see the sparkle. I don't even know if I can see the sparkle. Hold on. I think I grabbed the one that's like about empty. I did. Wink, where are you? Yes, there's my new one. Sorry, I'm coloring with one that's like about out. All right, so we filled the end. There we go. We'll come in here. Now you're going to see it. Shoo, and he will gray out a little bit because I have a way lot in that tip, but it will make it look like he has a gray beard. Let's see, and then it gets to leaking on me. I don't know why I'm so rough with these. And it's still leaking. Come in here and color his ornament. Hopefully that'll soak into my paper and not cause me too much grief. I got a lot on there. But do you see that Wink of Stella now? All that shimmer? It's really pretty. Okay, we're going to let him dry because I used way too much Wink on that. So we can now come in with our boss, the big boss. We'll do our embossing. Let me get him out of the way. I have, hopefully with this coloring, it's not going to take up a whole lot of time with you guys this morning. But the last project you're going to love, so I hope you're able to stick around. All right, so we need just, I think I forgot to put a plate on here. Oh no, that was for when I was embossing. I need the, where is it? My gray adapter. It's here. Oh, it's right there. Right in front of my eyes. Okay. So you need base plate number 1 and base plate number 4. And let me zoom back out. Bear with me. Oops, wrong way. All right, there we go. Okay. Grab your vellum. Place your vellum where the treetops are for this project, because you want to be sure that you have the treetops on your card front. And again, we're going to come in with just threw all my paper on the floor. You know, I could be as organized as anything, and the minute I start crafting, boom, it's all over. And that's normal. That happens, that loud noise. So, okay. Set this back on the floor. I know I have to still cut that gnome, but we're going to assemble this first because I think he's still drying. Okay, so bone folder. Crease your card. I need to do some stamping on that piece, which is right here. So I'm going to grab my sentiment, Holly Jolly Everything, and my real red ink, because those are the colors that I'm using. Just go ahead and ink that up and stamp that in the center of your die cut piece, your nested die cut piece. And now, what I want to do is trim down that piece of vellum, and I'm going to show you how pretty this is. I do have issues with this embossing folder and vellum. It does kind of crinkle and maybe cut through, but you're not going to see those pieces. It kind of eats through a little bit because it's so 3D, I guess is what I want to say. All right, let me grab my paper trimmer. I'm going to cut this down to 3 inches just so I have enough, and I think I'm going to use this piece right here. Now I'll use this piece. So I'm going to cut this down to 3 inches because I want this to be able to adhere to something to keep it in place on my card, since I'm not going to be adding adhesive up here. So definitely want to make sure you have a plan when you're using vellum, and then keep that other piece for another project. So what I want to do, and I know that this card is going to have about, I don't know, maybe 1/4 of an inch around the border. You can come in with some adhesive. You can use your seal towards the base of this. Just be gentle on that embossed section. And you're going to place that evenly with the same amount of border on these 2 sides, okay? Hopefully. And then you want to come in with your piece that fell on the floor that I probably lost. There it is. Okay, then you're going to come in with this piece and adhere that with about the same amount of border on each side, but make sure you're lining it up to that vellum. So maybe it'll be easier to come in this way so you can have it lined up to that section. And looks like I need to trim it some. Hang on. I'm going to trim about 1/4 of an inch off of there. So you're going to honestly only need 5 by 1 3/4. Or you can, you know, cut it further because you don't want to use that much anyway. This piece is going to get covered anyway over here. All right, so you have that. And now I need the other piece, which will, and that's totally crooked. It's really hard to do a card front with piecing because it's, I recommend use your grid paper to lay your paper down so that you have the exact measurement and it's not crooked. Come in with this. And this will line up both with that edge and the edge down below. Okay. It really shouldn't be this difficult. I'm just struggling with my placement. You guys laughing at me. It's okay. This is how we learn. You learn from my mistakes. It's all good. Now that should be fine. Okay, now we're lined up. Shoo, that was a struggle. All right, so we have that. Cool? Cool. There's a little piece showing. Oh well, I didn't measure correctly, but that's okay. Now, I'm gonna hope he's dry. He's still got some glitter going on that's a little wet, but we're gonna come in with our, I'm just gonna cut this off at the side, and I'll be right back with you. You guys got the gist of how this works. If you're new to this fun stuff today, I will just grab my plates and my die, and I'll cut this out and be right back with you. Thanks for your patience. Talk amongst yourselves while we're doing this. All right, so there he's all cut out. Cute, isn't he? All right, and we're just gonna layer him there with some dimensionals. How you guys doing? Enjoying the comic relief today with all my mishaps? It's all good, right? How these are all sticking to... Okay, I'm just gonna add a few so I'm not holding y'all up. We still got a few other projects to go. And that will get in the center there. Grab our sentiment. Wow, struggle. That kind of goes with the points to the seam, like so. And then we can grab those beautiful, wonderful gems and use one on each corner. Like so. And if you want, since you're putting that gem on that corner, you can come under here with, I would recommend if you get Paper Pumpkin, one of those smaller glue dots in the Paper Pumpkin kit. But a glue dot folded over or cut in half or whatever, you can certainly tuck under there to hold that piece of vellum. And one more. And there you go. There's card number 2. And of course, layer the inside with a piece of Whisper White, which I did not pre-cut. I didn't for that either. So that you have a place to write your greeting to your person you're sending that card to. All right. Now we have this awesome little lady. So I'm starting with a piece of, done with that. Starting with a piece of Mossy Meadow. Some of this copper ribbon, which was part of the Gilded Autumn, I believe. No, not the Gilded Autumn. One of the fall sets. There's a dual pack of ribbon in the fall, in the holiday catalog that you can get this copper ribbon in. It's a dual pack of ribbon, and I can't remember the suite off the top of my head. A piece of Whisper White for the inside of your card, which measures 5 1/4 by 4. Again, the same size vellum we had before, which I believe is 3 3/4 by 5. I'm going to use those red rhinestone basic jewels and the copper Star Designer Elements. And I've already stamped my little lady. Again, all these stamps are part of that stamp set, and this is the card we're going to make. So we're going to use this embossing folder this time, and a piece of that felt. How fun is that? And of course that copper ribbon and all those embellishments. It's really adorable. So we're going to go ahead and make that. And a good tip, you can tuck a gift card inside when you tie a ribbon around the front of your card towards the inside of the card. So it's a great tip for you too. And of course that piece of scrap that is 1 1/2 or a 1/2 inch wide by the length, by whatever length, as long as you can punch out your sentiment there. All right, so let's go ahead and grab our sentiment. We're again going to use that A Little Christmas Wish, so let's clean that off. Make sure all that nasty ink's off there. And And I stamp that in Real Red. I can get stamped right in the center. And we're good with that. Set that aside again. Let's do some coloring. We can go ahead and grab our classic label punch and just go ahead and punch that out now. And set that aside. And our blends. I am going to use Mossy Meadow, light and dark, so we'll keep the Real Red over here. We're gonna grab our Petal Pink Light and Mossy Meadow, light and dark, Real Red, light and dark. So we can go ahead and start coloring the, I'm not gonna zoom in for this because you kind of get the gist of what I'm doing. Just color in around all these ornaments with the light Mossy Meadow Stamp and Blend. I think I finally, with the exception of I think 2 colors, almost have of the whole blends collection. But you know when that happens, they come out with more, so which is fine. I like using them when I have time to anyway. All right, so we've colored that tree, which is her little hat. She is cute, Valerie. So cute. Yes, basket weave and metallic ribbon combo pack. Thanks, Sheila, for that. Thanks, Cheryl. Thanks, everybody. I'm so happy you're liking these. I was a little concerned that maybe I wasn't gonna, I don't know, my projects weren't gonna be appealing to everybody's taste, because I mean, I know everybody likes like 3D projects this time of year, but I'm just like, I just wanted to make cards with these. Plus with Onstage, I actually was prepping, making projects during some of the presentations during Onstage. It was all, for the most part, pre-recorded. We didn't have any like Zoom meetings or anything like that. So I went and colored those little ornaments on there with the red. Even though I'm going to cover them up, I still wanted to color them. Because if one of the gems happened to fall off during mailing, you still have that red color there and it doesn't look like you didn't finish the project. Because, you know, sometimes when you send stuff in the mail, that happens. So, and maybe you might even want to use a padded envelope or some protection inside your envelope sending a card like this with all those embellishments. All right, so let's keep coloring. I'm going to use the light Real Red. So that's what I used on the ornaments. I'm going to use the light Real Red on her dress. It's funny because when I get to these fine spots, like I hold my breath. Oh, because I'm afraid I'm going to go outside the lines. I'm going to dot the holly on her dress with just the tip. Color the sleeves. Another good color to use for skin tone is ivory or bronze. There's some other colors you could use as well so that you can get the skin tone of your preference. Someone yesterday, I think it was Gail Murray, is $1 million. No, she was presenting on Friday. She's $1 million sales achiever, and she got to design a stamp set. I will not even touch on how amazing some of these stamp sets are in the new catalog because I don't want to get you bummed because you can't get them. Well, you can get them with pre-order if you were a demonstrator. Pre-order's in December. So if you wanted to sign up as a demonstrator, you could pre-order with the rest of us. Just letting you know that. Little side note, it's great perks when you're a demonstrator because you get your hands on products sooner than others and you get a discount. And there's nothing better than getting the discount, especially if you end up buying a lot of product. So if that's something you want to talk about at a later date or now for that matter, then reach out to me. I'm happy to have that conversation with you to get you all set up with the starter kit. It's just awesome for the discount. All right, so I'm using the soft suede dark on her hair. Again, you can use different colors. You could use So Saffron for the blonde kind of color. This is the light So Saffron that I'm using on the star. And then I'm going to come in with the dark crumb cake for her little shoes that are showing down here. And just kind of dot those in. And the light Mossy Meadow for the leaves. Oops, wrong end. That was pretty daring. the leaves of the holly. And now I want to come in with the mossy meadow again, and I'm just going to do some of that highlighting and darkening. So of course, you know, the edges of this will have a little bit of shading underneath each layer of the tree. So just, it kind of adds a little bit of dimension. So just come in there gently without going crazy, because you don't want to mess up your ornaments there. And I'm going to add also a little bit of darkness over here. And then when you blend those out, so it kind of looks like the light is coming from the right side, okay? You can just blend those out with the lighter mossy meadow, so you're not seeing those lines. And I'll show you when it's finished. Just blend it out, and you don't have to color all the way over because it just kind of gives it that shading. All right. And forgot some of her skin just below her, on her neck, and I used the wrong tip again. Crazy girl. And grab my Wink of Stella in hopes that I don't create a mess for myself. This one's gone. I might as well throw it out. Okay. And come in with your wink and go around on her apron. I'm thinking this little girl's going to be cute to use with that gingerbread paper pumpkin kit. So, stitch nested die for the red cardstock and the girl. Okay, I haven't cut out this, but I'll show you what that is. This is the girl. When I cut that out, it's the 4th from the largest, and I will tell you the measurement on this one. Let's find those. So the, excuse me, the felt piece, I believe, is the 2nd largest. Second from, so this is the largest, so it's the next one down, is the one you're going to use for the felt. And then it's the 4th one from the largest for this, the little girl. So, all right, so we have all that going on. So now we can grab everything that we need to die cut. I need some of that felt. And I'm going to cut the felt in front of you so that you can see how that works. So let's put all this stuff aside. You guys are so patient. We're already almost to 10 o'clock, and I have one more project after this, which I hope you stick around for. All right, so first things first, we're going to grab the boss, layers 1 and 2. A base plate, which is layers 3, but I don't have my numbered ones in front of me. And my little girl. And we're gonna always come in with the point tip first because it is less pressure on your die, okay? Like if this was a straight edge, you would want to come in at an angle so that you're not messing up your dies too much, because they can bend and you don't want that to happen. All right, so we're gonna run that through. So we have her all cut out. She's all set. And now I want to come in with that other size die and my felt. And I'm not cutting my felt down. I'm just going to toss it right on there. And grab that die. And just place that right on that felt. And it's going to sound weird. It's not going to sound like your normal cutting with your like on a piece of paper. It actually crackles, but it cuts. And I actually would run it through a couple times. I do want to let you know, do not use intricate dies on this felt. I did not have good luck with that. I tried to cut some very tiny snowflakes, that string of snowflakes, and it did not work. It actually ruined my felt. So I would not recommend that or any intricate type dies with your felt. But look how awesome. And you can even see the stitching on that. I don't know if you can see it on screen, but so, oh, and we still have to emboss our vellum with the next die, or the next embossing folder. I have these all in order so I can put things aside when I'm done. So this embossing folder is the Tin Tile Dynamic Textured Impressions embossing folder. Say that 10 times fast. This I actually purchased in the old catalog, so I'm not sure if that's what the name of it is now, but I'm sure it's still the tin tile. So you have this line. See that line? I want to line my vellum up to that line, but I want to go the long way. So you can see that and kind of space it, because you can see through this, because you want it to be, I like to have things symmetrical and lined up kind of on both ends, and it just went crooked on me, so bear with me. All right, hopefully we are good or close. Just gonna move that a little. All right, so we need base plate number 1. And I think our cutting adapter. I'm sorry, it's not a cutting service. It is the number 4 plate for your 3D embossing folders. And I'm gonna really pray that I didn't just move my vellum, but let's see what happens. Okay, friends, that is not the one you use. This is the older from the other catalog, so I actually need, only need one of my top plates. This is where things get confusing when you have older product from the previous catalog before the new machine came out. So you just kind of have to figure out your layers. So if you come in with just one of the top plates, if you have the older embossing folders that are 3D or dynamic, then you shouldn't have any issues running that through. So my apologies for the miscommunication there. So there's that. And I'll set this up down. Done with that. We have all this stuff. So we're going to come in with our Mossy Meadow cardstock, and I do not have this pre-scored. Sometimes if you don't have a scoring tool, I mean, most of us do if we have the paper trimmer from Stampin' Up. You're going to come in with your bone folder, just line up those edges. I usually make an indentation and then fold it with my bone folder. So you have that card front. Again, that's 8.5 by 5, scored at 4 1/4 or folded in half. That's for the inside of your card, so you can go ahead and add that right to the inside. Like so. We're going to come in and we are going to, because we have all this, bring the sample back in, all my pieces, because we know that, you know what? I need a different, okay, I guess we're going to do this differently. I need a different card base. Actually, I'm going to make it work. So we're just going to do something different, because this actually is 4 1/4 by 11, but I'm going to use this card base because that's what I have handy and that's what I told you to use. And we're going to find a way to still use our copper ribbon, which is right here, and our vellum and everything else that we need. So we know that this is going to go on top. So I'm just going to come in and add that to the front of the card, right in the center. And again, you can see that adhesive, but it's going to get covered. Again, do not use your Tombow. I did that with this piece of felt. Thankfully, I was able to cover it, but it little left white marks of glue on that side, and I was so upset, but I was able to cover it. You can come in with your seal. It works perfect. Or your Seal Plus probably would work great too. That goes in the center of your card. I'm all off now. So this, because this initially would have gone this way, I wonder how it would look if I tied it there and did a bow down at the bottom. Let's see. Let's see if it's going to work if I have a long enough piece. I may not, because I used the wrong size paper, but we are going to make it work. And maybe it'll just be a knot. So maybe I'll tie that at the top. Sure. It's all about improvising when you need to. So tie your knot. Make sure that your ribbon is straight on the inside of your card. And of course, I don't have enough slack. I'm just going to tie the knot and then adjust my ribbon to where I want to put it. So sorry for my mishap for not having the right paper, but either way it's still gonna look cute, right? Of course it is. Because it's not the ribbon that's making the card, it's that cute little girl that's making the card, right? All right, so tie that in your knot. And if you want to feed that further, just bend your paper. And of course my ribbon there is crooked, so we're just doing real great today. It's okay. All right, so I'm going to add dimensionals to the sides of this. So that I don't interfere with the ribbon. Okay, the next card I'll just highlight. I won't assemble the entire thing, but I'll show you a little bit of how to put it all together. So we're going to add her right there. That still looks cute, right? I think so, if you put it in the right spot. There you go. All right, we're going to trim the ends of this without cutting your finger, like so. That's cute. I think it's still cute, right? Sure, why not? And then our sentiment gets added with some seal. You can add some dimensionals on the ends if you needed to have it over here, but I'm not going to do that. There is all these amazing rhinestones and stuff we got to still put on. How's everyone doing? Thanks, Gail. We got quite a few people here watching. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to grab this star. We're going to add that star to the top of her tree. Hat. If you can get it lined up like so. Okay. And then go ahead and grab your red rhinestones. And the other end of your take your pick tool. Just don't stab yourself with the sharp end. We're going to add those red rhinestones to all those adorable ornaments. And again, I colored those ornaments if you weren't watching at that time. I still colored the ornaments underneath in case one of these rhinestones fall off during shipment of this card. So, but I think we'll be okay. One more. That's a lot of rhinestones, but you know what? In this pack of rhinestones, do you know that you get, little trivia, 220 rhinestones in this pack of rhinestones? So there's plenty to go around. All right, so you have two versions of this card because of my mishap, but I think it looks great, right? Okay, you guys are so wonderful. All right, so the next thing is a cute little project. I'm going to show you some pretty, some details of it, and then I will go ahead and let you guys go. All right, so this card I'm super excited about. There's a lot of cutting, so not sure if I'm going to get to all that unless you guys just want me to keep right on going. I think I'll just keep right on going. If you have to go, thank you for being here. So this is the card I created. It's got that cute diamond kind of embossing folder. And so that is called the Dainty Diamonds Embossing Folder, and I've used some of the ovals, the layering ovals, this ribbon that comes with the Flowers for Every Season pack of ribbon in the annual catalog. And of course I created this little outside card with the Heartwarming Hugs Designer Series paper. And how cute is that? It looks like a little Christmas tree. Surprise! And then of course you can write your greeting on the inside. So too adorable. So I'm going to show you how to do this real quick. Now let's make sure I have the right paper. Okay, we have Whisper White, thick, measured at 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2, folded and creased at that edge. I've already embossed, oh, so I did save myself a little time. I've already embossed my Dainty Diamonds, and this is what it looks like, that embossing folder, with the Mossy Meadow. I'm using a different color for the base, with the Mossy Meadow card stock, and that measures 5 1/4 by 4. So we're just going to go ahead and place this on the front of the card. Like so. So we have that piece all set. This is where we're going to have to do some cutting. So this piece of designer series paper is 3 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So we've already got that scored. I have a strip of the same designer series paper for the inside of the card, which is 4 1/4 by 1/2 inch, and 2 pieces of Whisper White. So I'm going to show you how to center this where you need to. This piece of Whisper White for the inside of this top card is 2 1/2 by 3 3/4. So what I found, because I have my oval maybe about, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch from the top of this card, and hopefully I cut it in the same spot or I'm going to cause myself some grief. But how I managed to do this was grab my ruler. Any ruler you have is fine. And I'm going to mark in the center about 1 1/4 inches down with the tip of my pencil. Okay, so make sure it's kind of centered. Come in with the tip of your pencil, and at 1 1/4, just make a little dot, like so. Okay, then you're going to come in using your Memento Black ink, because that's what you're going to use with your blends. If you decide that you want to use Stampin' Write markers or watercoloring with your watercolor pencils, use StazOn for your stamping of the lined items or the lined images, okay? Because you don't want anything to bleed. All right, so that, and I know this isn't photopolymer, but if you kind of see where that dot is and center that, where that dot is, pretty much, I jiggled, but that's okay, because the dot is right there, then you should be okay where that is stamped, okay? So that's just my little trip to where to place that image. If you find an easier way for yourself that is not going to cause you a whole lot of frustration, then by all means, do it the way that you are comfortable with. If you want to cut your ovals first and then eyeball it, great. I'm going to tape this to the inside of my card base. Am I the only one that like loses their Stampin' Seal in the middle of crafting? Like literally gone. And it's probably right in front of me where you can see it. Okay, I guess I'll come back to that because literally I can't see it in front of me. So let's grab our die machine. That is just insane. Shout out if you see my, oh, there it is. Lord have mercy. All right. I am just a smidge tired from all the festivities this weekend. And then I couldn't sleep last night. So I was like wide awake at 2:30 in the morning. It's crazy. I'll keep this right here where I know where it is. All right. So now I want to cut this paper using my my ovals. Why do I want to keep saying olive? So the ovals I am using, let's see if I can get you the right sizes. This is, and there's some on the back. Those are all my scalloped ones on the back. So this is the third smallest, and then the oval, because there are so many, let me flip this over. This is the 1, 2 there, 4th from the smallest, if that helps. Okay. So let's come in with our boss. And we are going to grab stuff to die cut. So you need base plate 1, 2, and 3. Let me get my felt. And the one thing I want to do for this piece, I want to, oh, Bonnie, it's okay. We're kind of in the same boat. You do what you do. It's all good. It's a learning process. And if I had time, I would do clean videos and upload all of them to YouTube, but I don't have time for that. So you take the good with the bad, and right? It's all part of the process. And you know what? It keeps it real. So I'm going to layer these. So these ovals are in between each other, as you can see, because I just want that felt border of the oval. Sounds like static. It's so funny. Go through that a couple times because you are doing some fine cutting. And hopefully we don't have any issues with that. All right, so we got that piece. We can set that aside. Keep your little oval felt piece that's left over for another project. And this is what I was trying to get, is that piece right there. So we have that for the top of our card. And now I want to come in and grab my, and sometimes it's really, and actually it doesn't matter if you cut out 2 ovals from this. If it's an easy way for you to find placement, close it. Close it and just cut it, because you're going to cover up that other piece with some Whisper White. So make sure that's centered. Definitely want to make sure it's centered and about 1/8 of an inch or 3/8 of an inch from the top of that. If you so choose and it's easier for you, use your magnetic platform, whether you have the old one or the new one. Oops, sorry. The new one actually has gone on discontinued for now because people were having trouble with it. Warping. So they're doing some correcting of the product, so it's no longer available in the online store, and I just totally messed that up, really, but it's okay. It's off center. It's available in the online store. It's not available in the online store is what I was trying to get at. So but once they correct the issues with it, it will be available again. So if you don't have one, no big deal. If you have one, they're going to send you some type of credit or coupon of some sort. I didn't read all the ins and outs of it because I don't own it. So they will compensate you if you have one, because they're going to try and fix the issue. So, all right, so I'm going to come in here, and I know that this is off center, but again, I just want to give you the gist of how this is going to work. And hopefully it's still going to look fine, even if it's off center, okay? So I want to come in and I'm going to do some stamping with this because I have to do the sentiments before I even get ready to color and assemble. Make sure your stamp is completely clean. And I want to come in with my Stampin' Write marker, which is my basic black Stampin' Write marker, and I'm going to do the brush tip, and I'm going to do Christmas Wishes first, and I'm just going to color my stamp. Christmas Wishes, and I'm going to look, kind of eyeball it, and stamp that, okay, like so. Clean that again really well. Looks like I got my fingerprint in something. Clean that really well. Make sure all that ink is off. The reason I still have ink on my stamp after cleaning it is because I need to clean my stamp pad with warm soapy water. Actually, with just warm water. You don't have to put soap on it. All right, then I'm going to come in and I'm just going to color a little. I'm going to hope that all the ink is off the other spots of my stamp. And center that above. And you have a little Christmas wish. You can also do the masking technique, but it's fun to use your Stampin' Write markers. I do not recommend coloring your stamps with the blends because they're alcohol based. That alcohol is going to seep right into your stamp, potentially ruin your stamp. Use your Stampin' Write markers when coloring your stamps. Okay, now that we have that, let's quickly come in and we're going to color this tree like we did before. And I wish I had this done so that we can move on and show you how to assemble this, but we're almost there. So again, come in with the light, and I'm going to color her exactly the same as I did the first time. So the light mossy meadow. Yes, Beverly, it's crazy. I lose stuff all the time that I just had in my hand. We should We should have crafted together at 2:30 a.m. since I was up too. Oh no. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that you weren't sleeping as well. Oh, and that makes it rough. I was like still on a complete excited moment from on stage. I was just kind of excited. Excited. I see some of you have had to go, and I'm sorry if I missed you saying goodbye. Hopefully you'll come back and watch the replay. Come in here with the light again. Just kind of blend that out. Doesn't have to be perfect. All right. And for a time saver, I can come back and color this, but I just want to show you how to assemble this now. And it's okay if I color this after it's in here because there's so many layers it's not going to seep through. But let's go ahead and adhere this to the inside. Now, since you already have, I mean, yes, there's a hole there. It doesn't matter. Go ahead and make sure that's going to go where you want it. And I want to put that up a little bit more. Cover that oval. And hopefully, if that's centered, it's going to... I don't want to rip something in front of you, so just trying to be gentle. I want to be able to read my words. The key is to have this centered in the front of your card, but since I cut it wrong to begin with, so you'll have that, and then you're going to come in with your adhesive. Add that to the center of your card front. Make sure you got it going the right way, like so. Now, I put this on with glue dots, but if you don't want to do that, just go ahead and grab your seal, if you're able to just get some seal in certain spots. If I'm working off camera, I'm sorry. Like so. And again, because it's felt, you just got to work it around where that oval is. Just get it back transformed the way it's supposed to be. Like so. I probably should have more adhesive on that to lay where I want it to. So there's that. Again, you're going to color this tree in and finish coloring her like you did on this card, minus all the embellishing except for that star. You are going to use one of those stars on the top of the tree, and then you're going to tie a bow with that awesome ribbon to finish it off. So you just tie a bow. Like so. You can manipulate it. So you got that. You're going to trim it down to size you want. I got adhesive all over it because of my finger. Trim it down to the size you want. You're going to adhere that with glue dots. And that is it. So you're just going to finish off that card by coloring and adding all those extra elements. So these are the projects that we did today. And be certain to, if you shop my online store, you will receive make and takes for these projects today. I will send those out next week after the close of my host code. And I think that's all. Oh, Prize Patrol. I want to let Brandy Walworth, you actually won Prize Patrol for the guest in my next class this coming Sunday. So if you can be a part of that class, that's great. I will get this to you. I may have to touch base with you so that you can get it, because if I put it in the mail, I'm afraid you're not going to get it in time. So Brandy Walworth is the winner of my November holiday class. So those of you that are registered for that class and already received your goodies, I'm going to open up that Facebook group this week. And I still have to finish typing instructions, but this class is going to be so much fun using the tags, the Tag Buffet stamp set and elements from the Tag Buffet kit. So, all right, people, thank you for your extra time this morning. We went an hour and a half, and I apologize, but I just had so much fun creating with this product, and I hope that you decide to create some of these awesome cards as well. Yeah, enjoy your week. Thank you again, and blessings to all. I will see you all again soon. Bye.